Dear you, I know exactly what you just did. Your phone vibrated on the table, cutting through the silence of the room. It was a message from a friend in crisis, a coworker who dropped the ball, or a family member completely overwhelmed by the chaos of their own life. You looked at the glowing text. You felt a massive, familiar wave of exhaustion wash over your entire body. And yet, without even hesitating for a single second, you typed back, "I have got it. Do not worry. I will handle it." You hit send. You placed the phone face down. And as the room faded back into darkness, you stared blankly at the wall, feeling an agonizing, invisible pressure crushing the absolute life out of your chest. Welcome to the most deeply hidden, agonizing tragedy of your modern existence. You are suffering from the terrifying, suffocating curse of hyper-competence. You have become the designated anchor in a world entirely full of drowning people. Look at the magnificent, flawless illusion you have built around yourself. To the outside world, you are an absolute force of nature. You are the reliable one. You are the problem solver. You are the person who never loses their temper, who always has a backup plan, and who can carry the emotional baggage of 5 different people while perfectly managing your own career. You project an image of such unshakable, pristine strength that people simply assume you are immune to the gravity of the year 2026. But let us be brutally, painfully honest about the reality behind closed doors. You are screaming underwater, and everyone above the surface is just clapping at how incredibly well you can hold your breath. You are completely, profoundly exhausted. It is not just physical fatigue. It is a deep, biological burnout that settles into the very marrow of your bones. You walk around with your jaw constantly clenched, your shoulders permanently tied in knots, carrying a terrifying level of baseline anxiety that you never ever let anyone see. Why do you do it? Why do you insist on holding up the sky for everyone else while you are quietly being crushed into dust? It is because you are suffering from a devastating psychological wound. You have confused your utility with your value. Somewhere along the line, in the chaotic, high-pressure environment of your life, you internalized a deeply toxic lie. You convinced yourself that you are only worthy of love if you are actively fixing something. You believe that your only secure place in this society is to be useful. You are absolutely terrified that if you ever stopped being the strong one, if you ever dropped the ball, or if you ever became a burden, everyone would just walk away and leave you behind. You treat your own vulnerability as a catastrophic failure. Think about the profound isolation of your daily life. You spend your entire day listening to the anxieties, the fears, and the existential dread of everyone around you. You validate their feelings, you wipe their tears, and you offer them profound, beautiful grace. But when you are the one who is terrified, when you are the one staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., feeling completely paralyzed by the uncertainty of the future, the economic pressure, and the chaotic acceleration of the world, you swallow it. You swallow it whole. You convince yourself that your problems are not important enough to bother anyone else with. You say to yourself, they already have too much on their plate. I can handle this on my own. I have to be the strong one. It is an incredibly lonely, freezing place to live. You have successfully made yourself so reliable that you have become completely invisible. People do not ask how you are doing anymore because they just assume you are fine. And a dark, toxic resentment is slowly building up inside your chest, isn't it? You resent the people you love for not noticing your pain, but you simultaneously hate yourself for completely hiding your pain from them. You are trapped in a prison of your own brilliant construction. You are a human being, not a heavily reinforced retaining wall. You are living in an era of unprecedented global stress, artificial intelligence taking over entire industries, and a society that feels more fragmented and isolated than ever before. Yet, you expect yourself to absorb all of this ambient trauma without shedding a single tear. You have weaponized the concept of resilience against your own soul. You think that surviving everything without breaking a sweat is a badge of honor, but it is not strength. It is a trauma response. You are holding the entire world together out of pure, unadulterated fear. You are so tired. You are so deeply, desperately tired of being the hero in everyone else's story, while remaining completely abandoned in your own. Take a deep, shuddering breath. I need you to physically drop your shoulders right now. Unclench your hands. Release the vicious, agonizing grip you have on your own life. It is time to commit the most radical, terrifying, and beautiful act of rebellion you will ever experience. I am giving you the absolute, undeniable permission to let the glass shatter. Listen to my voice and let this truth penetrate the deepest, most terrified corners of your heart. You are allowed to fall apart. You are allowed to not have the answers. You are allowed to look the people you love directly in the eyes and say the most frightening, liberating words in the human language. I cannot do this today. I need help. The world will not end if you drop the ball. The sky will not actually fall. And if someone walks away from you simply because you are no longer a convenient, endlessly giving machine, then that was not love. That was exploitation. True love, real connection, the kind of profound belonging your soul is desperately starving for does not require you to be a flawless superhero. It requires you to be human. You must learn that your vulnerability is not a liability. It is the absolute core of your humanity. When you hide your struggles, you are actively depriving the people around you of the profound privilege of loving the real you. You have been a magnificent, unshakable bridge for everyone else. But now, it is time to let someone else carry the weight. Tomorrow morning, I want you to completely resign from the role of the savior. When a crisis arises that does not belong to you, I want you to take a step back, take a massive breath of air, and let it burn itself out. You do not have to fix everything. You do not have to optimize the emotional state of every single person in your radius. Your only absolute responsibility in this chaotic, beautiful universe is to fiercely protect the fragile, beating heart inside your own chest. Forgive yourself for treating your body like a machine. Forgive yourself for believing that your worth was tied to your output. You possess an inherent, magnificent, unshakable dignity just by drawing breath into your lungs. You do not have to earn your space on this earth by being endlessly useful. There is an immense, breathtaking freedom waiting for you on the other side of this exhaustion. Imagine waking up and not immediately bracing for impact. Imagine the sheer physical relief of being unapologetically messy, wonderfully flawed, and completely supported by the people who love you. You have carried the entire world for so long. You have been so incredibly brave. But the war is over. The armor is entirely too heavy, and you do not need it anymore. Drop it on the floor. Step out of the fortress. Let the tears fall if they need to fall, and let yourself finally, wonderfully, be held. You are entirely safe. Now, close your eyes and just let go.